So that there is a few things to really understand about us being here alive in the physical body. Of course, when you look to religions, they say, basically, and a lot of spiritual people, they say basically we are something different from the physical body. And maybe we are not. But for sure, every impression we have when we are here in a physical body, we can be aware of or conscious of, is moving through our nerve system. And this is important to understand. If we feel energy, we feel an atmosphere. If we feel, the beauty of a flower, this is moving through our nerve system. And in a way, our nerve system is a little bit primitive. That means, if I get a punch in the stomach, my nerve system will register this as pain. And when I get a very strong rejection from somebody, it's like a punch in the stomach. The nerve system cannot really see the difference, understand the difference. So a lot of physical pain we are having is basically connected with emotional pain. And of course, when you come with a lot of pain to a doctor, and the doctor cannot find anything, then he says, okay, it's psychosomatic. And probably it is psychosomatic. But what is not said is that the nerve system cannot decipher emotional pain from physical pain. And it's not understood very deeply either. That means if you come with complaints and there are psychosomatic, or it's not clear what's going on, maybe the doctor will start to treat you with a lot of medicine, or start to block a nerve, or whatever. Which is worse, I think, when he says it's psychosomatic. I try to explain. So the nerve system not being able to feel the difference between emotional pain and physical pain. So part of what we have to learn when we are here is to build resilience. And so when we are a child and we fall down, and we fall on our knee, and it's really hurtful, a lot of children, young children, they kind of, they react like this is the end of the world. It's so unfair. They get angry, they get really upset. And when they're 2 years older and they fall on their knee, they do like this and they just walk on. They know that it will heal, they know that the pain will pass. We know when we bump our knee that this is normally not the end of the world. And so that means that we build resilience in physical pain. In the same way, we're able to build resilience in emotional pain or emotional discomfort. You can call it pain, you can call it discomfort. So the more resilience we're building, the less we need to fight or to be in a conflict with whatever is emotionally or physically is going on. The more we are able to kind of relax into the nerve system, to relax into the physical body. And that gives a lot of space. So when Georgie is talking about survival, so part of it is that there is a fear for physical discomfort. And part of physical discomfort is fear itself, is anger, is physical pain, is maybe more derived emotions, more complex emotions like jealousy we're fighting with, or loneliness we're fighting with, or the feeling that we are not okay we're fighting with, the feeling of rejection we're fighting with. We are not able to contain this. And from this, what is happening basically is that the mind is trying to kind of control the emotion or the feeling which is going on, and at the same time is upset with it. And this works exactly the same as physical fear, physical pain. Say we have a pain in the knee, and we watch television, And we forget about the pain in the knee. And then the program is gone. And then at once we become aware of the pain in the knee again, and we get entangled with our mind in it, and we cannot sleep because the knee is so painful. And that's partly our attitude towards the pain. I think we all know this. And part of the attitude is that when we averse or we get in a struggle with it or in a fight with it, it gets worse. And that's a very, very simple. This is our consciousness, our awareness, how it's working. If we bring our consciousness to our big toe, we become much more conscious of what is happening in the big toe. And then what's happening in the big toe, the nerve system starts to open up, the blood vessels start to open up, the big toe gets a little bit more warm. So if there's an area where there is pain, we open all the nerves in this area as well. So we become much more aware of the pain. It becomes a struggle. The same is with emotional pain, or the same is with fear, or the same is with anger. If we're fighting with anger, anger is our enemy. So if you're in a room full of friends, then, we can be relaxed. If there is one enemy in the room, one person you really, 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 really dislike, there is not a moment that you're not aware of where this person is. We're obsessed with it. You recognize what I'm talking about? So we're often much more intimate with our enemies as we are with our friends. So when you look into this, we're quite intimate with the things we kind of feel or experience as discomfort. And in a way, we need to control this. We need to control our anger, because anger is not good. We need to control our fear, because fear is not good. We need to control our jealousy, because jealousy is not good. This is all learned behavior in a way. So, and in this, what is happening is that generally we have a feeling which comes from even a deeper layer that we are not okay. And this not okayness brings us in a situation that we kind of, with our mind, with our imagination, build a structure how we have to be okay. But we never dare. This is always in the future. If I work on myself, if I go to a psychologist, if I behave nice, if I do this and this and this, I will be okay. So this can be in a relationship. In a relationship you work hard on yourself and you try to please your partner all the time. And if you please your partner all the time, at a certain moment your partner will tell you that you are okay. Which most of the times never will happen. Because, you don't choose a partner from the beginning who say that you will be okay. You choose a partner who anyhow has a difficulty to kind of express to you that you are okay. And the more you please, the less the partner will say that you're okay. Why would he? The less the partner will get used to you doing your best and be sweet and do everything. And that's how you are. You're an angel. You're not okay, but you're an angel. And of course, your partner then will look into little things which go wrong. Because everybody needs some criticism, even angels. I'll just give an example. You recognize the patterns? So during the education we move much more deeply into it, because there is a beauty in it. It's the lessons of life we move through. But in this state of survival, basically what we're doing is that from the mind we're dictating what we have to be. And this comes to a point where we start to dictate what we have to feel, what we have to experience. It's in our language, it's in how we talk about life. It's basically in everything. If you're married and you got children, you got a job and you got a house, you have to be happy. When somebody dies, you have to be sad. When some injustice is happening to you, you have to be angry. If you're not angry, you're a loser. So it's even so that something happens to us which was shocking, and we tell it to friends. Our friends are telling us that we really have to act on it, that we have to be really angry, even if you don't feel any anger, just shock. If you're fearful, there's two different possibilities. Either the fear is fed, especially when we're fearful for the dentist or something like this. You know, everybody will come with beautiful stories what can go wrong with the dentist to add to the fear. Or people will say, there's no reason to be fearful. You know, in how we communicate, it's like we can make the emotions. But when you're fearful, what you need is somebody just to be there for you, to listen to you, to give you the space to be fearful, for the fear to calm down. If there is no reason to be fearful, that means that your fear is not allowed to be there. So you start to struggle with your fear. If there is no reason to be angry, you start to struggle with your anger. Or if you have to be angry, you try to kind of raise anger. Find reasons why to be angry. So this is when we start to rationalize emotions. And when we start to rationalize emotions, which are totally irrational by themselves, then we get a little bit dodgy. There is the reason for anger, when you look to anger, is that something is a threat to us. Like a dog. When a dog feels threatened, he gets angry. When something moves over a border, he gets angry. And even when you have children, you know, when you look at your children, sometimes you are relaxed and you're open, and whatever the children are doing, you're able to kind of to be okay with it. And sometimes you're tensed and stressed and not open at all. And then, you know, a little thing which goes over your borders is too much and you snap at them. It's so different from period to period, time to time. So when you look into this, you know, it's not rational. So when we're angry, we try to find reasons for it, give reasons. And you know, when you're married to Georgie, it's really difficult because she undermines every reason. There is no reasons for being angry. You're angry because you're triggered. It's your system. So the more you're fighting with your anger, the more difficult it is to control your anger. The more you have to find reasons to say, okay, now I have the right to be angry. And so often what you see is when we are angry, we don't say, I feel threatened, but we blame the other. It's because of you that I'm so angry. And especially when we do this towards our children, it is difficult. Because if it's because of you that I'm so angry, you know, basically you turn, look through the eyes of a little child. You turn into a monster, and it's because of you, me, that daddy turns into a monster. So what did you do wrong? So the way we are dealing with emotions is not kind of in a way which is very productive. And we're confused. We're very, very confused in this. And because we're confused, we get more fear for our emotions. You understand? It's more uncomfortable because it's hurtful, it's rejective. So it's better not to have any emotions. So better not to have any emotions means that we have to move stronger in survival. That means that the mind is more dictating reality as it should be, And we lose connection with how it really is in the moment. So this whole situation basically is creating the situation in which, teachers are talking about awakenings. So what do we awaken to? Basically nothing else as the physical situation as it is, and not being in kind of an idea in how it should be. So a lot of awakenings are possible in a lot of different ways. So when you look more deeply into the whole movement of survival and spiritual psychology, so basically what psychology is doing, it's very much again investing in keeping the mind in control, understanding the problems, and also working in the whole area of trying to accept the emotions, which is very beautiful and helpful, and trying to be able to deal with the emotions, to relax in it. This whole kind of getting the nerve system used to emotions and build resilience is very much into modern psychology in a lot of different ways. So what's the difference between modern psychology and spiritual psychology? I come back to what Georgie brought forward. So the difference between spiritual psychology and modern psychology is that spiritual psychology is kind of is moving beyond feelings, beyond emotions, beyond thoughts, to something which is there, something which is the miracle of life. And to really look deeply into this and even beyond this. This is that we're sitting here as physical machines, that we have emotions, that we have feelings, that we have thoughts. But there is something which is registering this. There's something which is conscious of this. There's something which is aware of this. There's something which is perceiving this. And this something, this miracle, you cannot really measure. But this something which is there, this is, I think, the most interesting thing of life. That's our consciousness, that's our awareness, our perception. So a lot of exercises we're doing, a lot of meditations we're doing is kind of to get more connected with this layer, this miracle inside ourselves that we're able to perceive. And to refine our ability to perceive. And again, everything what we perceive right now is through our nerve system, it's through the physical body. So that has an influence on the whole physical body. It's very difficult to perceive refined vibrations when you are in a turmoil inside. So part of what we're doing is to kind of balance the nerve system, balance the body, learn to do it ourselves and to help others to balance and to open up the nerve system, to relax the body. And in this, basically a whole process of healing is starting in different layers. So that's a little bit added to what Georgie brought forward. Maybe we have a break.
We're going to slow down as the days go on. We're just kind of speedy.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question that was playing on my mind as you were speaking?
Yeah.
In terms of this kind of confrontation with this authority structure,
Yeah.
This right to exist, you must,
Yeah.
you mustn't. What happens in the situation where there is obviously legitimate anger towards that structure that then results in a denial of experience? So then you say, I don't want to experience anything. There is that part of it, because you come up against that structure,
Yeah.
and there's so much anger that you don't want to be defined in any way.
Exactly.
And then you don't experience.
So what happens? when you don't experience.
You don't live.
That we all bump into this at certain moments and different reasons, but then we start to move in states of depression. We don't feel anymore, we don't want to feel anymore, we don't really live, we feel depressed. And when we are depressed, there's kind of a numbness of the whole nerve system, so we numb ourselves down not to feel anymore. And this is not, there's nobody to blame there. Again, this is happening. I want to get all the blame but out of it, but the effect is that we hardly see colors anymore. Our smell goes down. All our senses are dulling. And at a certain moment, if we go very deeply into depression, life becomes senseless. Nothing makes sense anymore. And there is this feeling of separation, and there is this feeling of, living in a vacuum, and everybody kind of, doesn't make sense what everybody is doing, and you're not connected anymore. There's a total disconnection at a certain point. So that's a very, very deep suffering. And we all know this in a deeper or a less deep level. And often what we do after such a period, or when we feel this very deeply, we kind of, we try again. We do a restart. We try to reach out again. So that's a little bit the answer. As we close down and we open up at a certain point, because the closing down is so unbearable that we open up again. We try again. We try again to survive. We try to be better. We try to be a new project.
Yes, no, I understand. Yes, but so essentially, then you go towards the structure again. If I do this, then I'll be like this.
Exactly.
And this will happen, and you hold that as your belief.
Exactly.
But the belief is part of your experience. To experience things, you have to. It's a complicated subject. At least
Absolutely.
Yes, I won't.
So you want to know, how do you liberate yourself
from that belief structure, because you're always coming up against it.
Yeah.
It's a hard, for me anyway, a very central question.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, the first step is that you are conscious of this belief structure. So the second thing is, are you that belief structure? Or is it the structure inside you? So the third thing is another truth possible as the truth you feel in this belief structure? So if another truth is possible, what would be your truth then? So that's one way. But it's step by step, and the only way is to be in peace that this belief structure is part of you right now, and to see this is part of me, because the more we fight it, the more we get entangled in it. If it's part of you, are there other possibilities? And to see that what you believe is not what you are, it's what you believe. Who is believing this? Is this what you are? Is this defining you? And for this we need relaxation and we need space. Because, if we are in a contraction, if we feel very unsafe, if the nervous system is in a high, which is with most of us, we become our beliefs. There is zero distance between what we believe at that moment and we are in a tunnel vision. There's only one truth. This is what it is. We all have this when we quarrel with partners. We see the partner in a certain way. We don't love our partner so much at that moment, and we see the partner in a certain way, and there's this truth in our head, and we totally are identified with this truth. What the partner did, and what is this and that. It becomes totally black and white. And when the quarrel is over, we start to relax again, we start to feel ourselves more, and then at once the same love is there. Your partner is not a monster anymore. And at once you see, you know, that the whole thing you quarreled about was totally relative. It was really not that important. And your partner is not a monster anymore. It's just, you know, and so we have the tendency to move, and the more desperate we are also with our lives, the more we move into a kind of tunnel vision, the more we get caught. So part of what we're doing in this education is to find ways to relax, to become more aware of our beliefs, and to become more aware that we are not our beliefs. And in this, you know, you can change your own beliefs if necessary according to yourself. Because this is something we will not do in these 7 years. We will not dictate beliefs or say what is right and what is wrong. Otherwise there's another authority telling you what to think, what to be, how to behave. And that's not really what we're heading at.